Welcome back, goons and goonies. This week I decided I should probably at least finally start to tell the Juvy story. I waited so long just because, I don't want this to be like my defining thing. I don't like to reference it that much. I don't want to build my whole, I don't want to hold on to it and make that my own thing and then just everybody, because already at this point I know half of the people from high school are looking at the name of this podcast episode and are like, oh, still talking about that, huh? It's like, no, I wasn't talking about that, but people asked me about it, so I needed to make a reference episode, so that way I don't have to, I can just tell them to listen to this, it's just like not a thing anymore. I don't know. Yeah. But it's so like drawn out to me that I really want to get plastered before I do it and make it as fun as I can. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. Give me like a second. Just give me like 1 second to get plastered real quick. Just hold on. All right, thanks for holding on. I'm here back. This episode, by the way, is sponsored by Seltzers. Shout out to Seltzers for getting fucked up, but being also healthy about it. I like seltzer. I actually try to switch between, you gotta switch between seltzers, beer, and wine, just to, you want to make sure you don't get too much of carbs, you don't want to make sure you don't get too much sugar, whatever it is. And that's the thing. I took that minute and I didn't take advantage. Well, no, I took advantage of the minute, but I didn't take advantage of the time that you gave me to get fucked up. Anyways, doesn't matter. Here I am, Steve McJones, to talk about the Juvy story. And it's it's an interesting story. It's not really that interesting, but it's a part of my life. So here we go. So back when I was a little schoolgirl, back in the day when I was a junior in high school, I was at the peak of my life. Correction, I actually peaked in 4th grade. But anyway, so I was in high school making jokes on Twitter that nobody laughed at. Nobody really liked me. I'm just kidding. But anyways, I made a joke on Twitter, and it was around the time of Nerf War. I don't know if you've heard of Nerf War, but a lot of high schools have a Nerf War when you're a senior in high school. It's where you get into different teams and you have a Nerf War. And I was a junior, so only seniors had the Nerf War at high school, and there was a lot of tension because there's this family had a whole burn down house situation, and all of the people some of the people wanted to donate their winnings to the burn down house family, and some of them were like, well, that's not fair. The whole point of this is to win money, and that's the whole competition. That's what we do. And there was a whole lot of tension. There was a lot of people getting in fights and arguments on Twitter. There was like, what was going to happen? What's going to go on with this money? And me, of course, I had to put my 2 cents in. Steve McJones, Stevie McJ on Twitter. Hold on. Stevie McJ on Twitter, of course, had to put his 2 cents in. And me as a person, I want to diffuse the tension. I'm a little brother. I'm a little sister. No. I'm the third child of 3. So I'm the youngest. As the youngest, typically the youngest is there to diffuse any tension there is. But anyways, I come in into this whole Nerf War situation, and I tweet, great idea for next year's Nerf Wars. Great idea for next year's Nerf Wars, fellas. How about we use real guns instead of fake guns? Haha, just kidding. I'll have shot up the school by then. Oof. Yeah, no, that's a lot. That's too much. No, and I realize that. I realize that now. Back in the day, apparently I didn't realize that as a junior in high school. But what are you going to do? I thought it was funny at the time. And I go to school the next day. I wake up in the morning. It's got like 60-something favorites and like 2 retweets. I'm like, woohoo, look at this fucking guy walking around the school like, yeah, what it is. What's up? Like, I got that many favorites, that many retweets, what are you going to do? And, and then, of course, comes around fourth bell. I get out after fourth bell because I was in PSEO. CCP, I don't know if you've heard of her, College Credit Plus. Do that whole thing if you're still in high school. It's worth it. You get free money. You get less time in school. Whatever. Anyways, I was doing that whole thing. And so fourth bell is my last bell. And I'm like, look at me. Third bell, I have a math class with one of my buddies. I'm like, what if I tweet? What if I follow up? What if I follow up with that tweet? What are they gonna do? That'd be hilarious, right? And they're like, oh yeah, totally do that, dude. And I'm like, so I tweet, I just have to make it to lunch to follow through with my plan. Oh man, if that second tweet wasn't the worst decision of my life, I don't know what is. I'm 21 years old, and this happened when I was 17. I would say, I'm still only 21, but 17 years old, that was probably the worst decision. The follow-up. The first tweet, kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. Kind of funny. Still fucked up. And still really dumb. Second tweet, even dumber, even more fucked up. And you know what? You know what they did to me while I was in fourth bell? Said, is there an Alec Bolger here? Is there an Alec Bolger here? Which is my real name, in case you didn't know. And I said, yeah, I'm right here. And they pulled me out of class. And immediately, you know what I mean? Immediately, I was like, listen, it was just a tweet. I'm kidding. There's no guns. You can look in my locker. Wherever. They searched my locker. They searched my car. They searched everywhere. I would have been able to have these things. My bag, whatever it is. Of course, I don't have any guns. I have never, ever wanted... First of all, I don't believe I have ever hated anybody ever in my life. I've wanted to punch somebody before. I've wanted to emotionally hurt them before. Excuse me. However, I have never wanted ever to kill somebody in my life, which is kind of relevant because World War III is happening, and I don't think I could do that because I just can't, I don't think I would be able to shoot somebody. Shooting in a distance randomly is a little different, but, we won't get into that because I'm not a politics guy. And World War III, I think that's just something that the media wants to portray to get followers. But it's not important. What is important right now is that I made a fucked up joke, which wasn't even that funny, and what happened is I got expelled and I went to juvie. Now, with all of those facts comes responsibility. And for me, I do feel responsible for those. And so before that, this was 2017, in the midst of all the shootings and whatnot, and probably about a month and a half before, there was a shooting at a school nearby. And I saw it as breaking tension, when in reality it was just inducing panic, which is what, ironically I got arrested for. But back then, I didn't mean to. I still don't mean any intention of harm or whatever. Like I said, they searched my locker, they searched my car. I had no guns, which clearly I had no intention. I immediately, when they pulled me out of class, admitted to the whole thing, and I said, no. I said, no, sir, I do not mean to do any of this, and I did not mean to induce any panic. So, unfortunately, I did, and it was fair. That is fair, okay? I will admit to that. However, I was going to... First of all, I was going to my grandma's that weekend because it was like Memorial Weekend or something. I don't know. Whatever happens in April, there's probably a big weekend. I went to my grandma's and I was in trouble. And my dad didn't tell her what I was in trouble for. But she's like, if you're in trouble, it's okay. She could tell something was up. She's like, it's okay. Listen, we all make mistakes. And you'll get over this soon. And, thank you, Mamie. Yeah, I call my grandma Mamie. I said, thank you, Mamie. I needed that right now because I will conquer this whole fucking thing, whatever it is, and I will get over it. And so that's the first weekend. Second weekend, it's Sunday, This is 2 weeks after I've been banned from school. Got expelled, whatever. 2 weeks after that, I'm watching a movie. I have court on Monday. My dad comes down and he says, "Hey, this isn't going to be a vacation, okay? You can't be watching movies, all right? You did something bad, and there's going to be punishment to follow, and it won't be. We're not going to be easy on you." And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. And that whole fucking void comes in. And I'm like, here we go. And that's fair. I fucked up. And as parents, you gotta, make sure there's discipline. And you can't let your kid fuck up. Because if he does, it's probably for something that he fucked up on. Which I did. And you know what? You're allowed to fuck up in life. You fuck up. That's what you do. Every human being is capable and is probably willing to fuck up, on whether it be on purpose or on accident, And so I fucked up. We had court that Monday, and our previous lawyer had told us, "Hey man, all that's really going to happen is you're probably going to get a little bit of charge. You're going to get some court fees and whatnot, and you're going to get some community service. And you kind of fucked up. Like, you should know that. You did fuck up. But you'll be fine after that. Everything's going to work out." So we go to court on Monday, and I'm with just me and my parents. And the prosecutor says, "We suggest that the defense here go to juvie because of the threat of the act, because of the possible threat that this person holds." And my parents were not expecting that at all. They weren't ready for that. And neither was I. All I thought was I was going to get a little bit of community service. And I'll take community service. I would do community service whether I'm in trouble or not. You know what I mean? Like, I'll help out the community. I'll do whatever. I've had some volunteer hours on my hands, whatever it is, for a class or whatever. Obviously I'm not going to do that on my own because I'm not that good of a person. But other than that, we were not expecting that at all. I could see my dad's face go red, see my mom just kind of freaking out, and I'm like, "Wait, what? What is going on?" And they start handcuffing me, and they said they're saying this whole thing about, in this case of threatening and whatever, this person needs to go to juvenile detention so that he's not a threat to anybody or anybody else around him. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And they pull me back and dressed in a suit. And they're like, "Wow, you dressed up in a suit. We don't see that a lot back here." And I'm like, "Yeah, obviously, because you have fucked up people that come into juvie." But in my mind, in physical reality, I'm just crying, as a kid in this situation. Probably should, if you don't cry, you got to be able to cry when you're in a situation like this. When a situation you're not expecting, first of all, in a situation that negatively affects you. I think that's a situation where you're allowed to cry. I was crying in front of these officers that are arresting me and taking my name and taking all this information about me. And then the thing is that's fucked up. I don't know why they had to do this, but they had to pull me back and give me a shower with all the juvie shit and undress me, and I had to be undressed in front of an officer. And that's pretty fucked up because I'm pretty sure they have that for every gender, both male and female, and every person that gets taken back there, both male and female, or whatever gender you're non-binary. It's not one or the other, but whatever it is. And that was the most. They take away who you are as a person and look at you naked. And that situation right there is something that I never want to experience again. That is the part that I most regret from this whole thing. I don't know what they're looking for. What could you possibly get at this 50-year-old looking at me, a 17-year-old naked? What threat do you get out of this? What are you trying to break me down into? And I guess there's probably federal reasons and laws that that he's following and whatnot, but like that just really breaks you down. That's the worst moment of it all, I think. And so after that, you take a shower, make sure you don't have crabs, whatever it is. Get changed into the degenerate clothes, and you're fully, at that point, a degenerate. And at this point, here I am, the degenerate. I am the degenerate, and I don't know what to do. I am kind of freaking out, and all these other children that are also under the age of 18 come out, and they're they already got their own cliques and everything, which is weird because in juvie, it's like there are little cliques. There's the cool kids and the nerdy kids and the quiet kids, which is representative of high school, I guess. I don't know. There's I think within every community they break down the top people and the bottom people and the middle people, and which is kind of fucked up because everybody should be the same. But, there's the extroverted people and the introverted people, the leaders and whatnot. In juvie, there was this hierarchy. And I was now forced into that. Where do I fit into this status quo? Where like they had been in there for at least a couple of days, and now that's me. And I don't know. To be honest, I did find some people I related to in there. I found some funny people. I found some cool people, and I'm not gonna lie. I don't regret the whole situation. I do not regret what I learned and who I met. That's what I'm gonna say right now on record. I don't regret everything that I did. I am very sorry that I scared you. However, apparently at this point, so this is what made the whole thing worse. At this point, this is why I kind of wanted to get somebody who had been there, but I'm in Athens now, and fuck Athens or whatever. But I'm in Athens now, and I can't really get anybody that was there at the moment. But at the school that Monday, when I went in for court, there was a bomb threat that Monday, and then Tuesday there was a bomb threat. Wednesday, there was a bomb. Thursday, it was called Bomb Threat Week. That's what it was, a school shooting bomb threat week of just people calling in and apparently, it was like fifth bell one day, fourth bell another day, third bell another day, and it was like counting down, and apparently by Friday, everybody was actually going to get killed or whatever. And that is really what they told me. It was like, you were an example. You were 17 years old, older than all these other kids, and you should know better. Blah, 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 blah. There's this whole fucking thing going on at the school, and me, I'm just chilling in there trying to, like, comprehend what the fuck is going on. Chilling in my own jail cell, talking to these actual... There was this kid... in there was a couple of kids. They're like, well, you're technically not supposed to talk about what you're in there for. And, everybody talks about what they're in there for, obviously. That's what you talk about. What else can you talk about with these other kids? And this kid in there, like, yeah, I lit something on fire on my school bus, and now I'm in here, and, like, this is the second time And there's another kid, like, yeah, I beat up my mom. She kind of deserved it, though. And the thing is, you kind of sympathize with the dude. When he says that he beat up his mom because his mom apparently has done all these things to him and has this new boyfriend that's a bitch or whatever it is. But, like, I don't know. That's what you do. Like, you sympathize with these people or empathize, whatever the word is. You empathize with these people. And, I beat up my mom. It's like, damn, bro, you can't be beating up your mom and shit. And then there's another guy that's like, yo, I took some Xanax and this dude, like, gypped me $20. So, like, I went over to his house and shot at his house, whatever. And he got arrested. Two of them got arrested for that same crime. And I'm like, yo, I fucking tweeted in this bitch. And they're like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. And so I was I don't think I was included in the majority of the people there. I don't think they grouped me in as one of them, which is good and bad because, I didn't fit in as well as I. Wait, I mean, do you want to fit in to juvie? To juvenile delinquents? I don't know. Probably not. However, I wanted to. I was there for 3 whole weeks, basically. I wanted to fit in, and am I so wrong to want to fit in to people, to a community that you put me in for so long? That's the hardest thing, is like, they put me in there, and then they never give you the next date. They never give you the date of your trial. They never give you the date of your execution. It's like, you have a couple of different dates where you come in and things, and people watch you and things happen, and they don't give you that date. And it's like, well, I don't know how long I'm going to be in here for. I might as well make some people friends, I guess, people that I can talk to. I don't know. So, I wanted to fit in. So, I did make some friends there. I did make some friends that, well, the people, they're all juvenile. They're all juveniles. They're all under 18. You know what I mean? None of them. There was a kid that was 11 years old in there who made a shooting threat or a bomb threat when he was 11 years old. And at that age, you don't know what's right and what's wrong. You don't know what's going to make people laugh, what's going to make people like you, what's going to, you don't know. And he made a shooting threat at 11 years old, and he was in there. And I feel sorry for that kid. But I bet he learned his lesson after that. He was a little sassy. I bet he was a little. I'm not trying to be homophobic or anything, but it's just a fact. I bet he was gay, and he wanted to kind of, he was hiding it, and he wanted to bring attention to himself, and he was, whatever it is, he made a shooting threat, and he came in, and unfortunately for him, a lot of the kids in juvenile detention made fun of him for being a little gay kid or whatever. And, that's unfortunate. And I did feel sorry for that kid, and I feel sorry for anybody else that tried to do that. There was some kids who came in actually from my school after that, the whole bomb threat week, that got caught and I met in the whole system. And I feel sorry for them because we're all kids. All juvenile detention kids are kids. But it's juvenile detention for a reason, and hopefully you learn your lesson from that whole situation. I did that shit, and I learned from it. And you know what? I met some cool people. There was this guy named Abel Freebands, like Cain and Abel. I don't think his actual name is Abel Freebands, but that's what it is on Facebook. Shout out Abel Freebands. He actually. Oh, and there was this guy named Will Smith. Of all things, Will Smith. What a cool guy. When I first got there, the first day that I was there, he opened up a letter, and the letter said that he was a father. And he was not ready for that shit. I'll tell you, nobody under the age of 18 should be ready for that shit, and he definitely was not included in one of the people that was not ready for that shit. And I felt so bad for him. He is like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? I'm in juvenile detention right now. I can't take care of this kid. What the fuck? But anyways, Abel Freebands. Well, Will Smith. Well, so I friended them both on Facebook after this whole situation. And Abel Freebands, Abel, has he was a ginger, he had long hair, ginger, and there's nothing wrong with being a ginger. I like gingers in general. I guess I shouldn't call, is ginger offensive? Is that an offensive term at this point? A redheaded man named Abel, and in juvenile detention, he was he was spaced out all the time. He was in there for selling Xanax, and he told me he was up to 12 Xannies a day. Like, that's a lot. That's quite a few Xanax. Whatever. Is that plural? It's quite a few. That's a lot of drugs in one day, and he was spaced out. He wasn't on them anymore, obviously, because he was in juvie. He couldn't take them while he was in juvie. But taking him up to that point for however long he did, not all there. The guy was not all there, and he would, he would fucking, like, shit in class. He would shit his pants. And, in class, whatever it was, we would have to do, like, 2 classes a day. We'd have to go back and forth between teachers where they would just kind of watch over us in this classroom setting where really nothing would happen besides the kids that were still in school would do their schoolwork while they were in there, and everybody else would kind of just fuck off. And he would be, we'd all be sitting in there and start, what? Ew, dude, what is that? And everybody is like, Abel, was that you? He'd be like, maybe. And it was fucking Abel, god damn it. Yeah, he's shitting his pants in the classroom because he's got nothing better to do, which is fair. And we get, man, that whole setting was weird. Ugh, I just remember they played country music all the fucking time, and I am not a fan of country music. I don't know if you don't like country music, but if you don't, you typically don't like country music. If you're not a fan, you hate country music. It's either you love it or you hate it. There's no inverse. And they would play that shit all the time. And that's what made Juvie the worst. Is because they would play poppy country music too. I can respect regular country music, but they would play poppy country music. Fuck that shit. Anyways, Abel's shitting his pants in class. Country music is happening in the background, and I was like, oh my god, what the hell? We'd all, but I don't know. Abel was funny. He was funny enough when he did zone in. Very rarely he did, but when he did zone in, he'd zone in. What's up, bro? He had the cell next to me. He would stand up on the toilet, talking to the vent, and be like, "This is Jesus speaking. Hello." And the vents were a connection to every other room in the cell. There was only 2 rows of cells. I think they only had 20 rooms, to be honest, 10 on the bottom and 10 on the top, and he'd talking to all of them, and everybody would hear him. It'd be kind of funny. It's a little funny. They also had this whole situation of, there was this dude in there that had done meth before, and they were like, well, what's meth like? I kind of want to know. What's it like? What do you do when you're on meth? And he's like, well, it's hard. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's just like, woo! And he did the little surfer, like, pinky and thumb thing, like, woo! And we all just cracked up at that and went around, and we would do that to each other around the classroom. Woo! Looking at each other, going, hey, shut up, be quiet. Woo! And so, we're all in our different cells. Luckily, in juvenile detention, you don't get a cell with you don't get a room with anybody else. It's just you in that room. And he was talking to the vent or whatever, but at night everybody quiets down, and you just hear woo, and everybody else goes woo to answer. They'd be like, hey, quiet down. You'd be like, all right, okay, all right. Oh, Jesus. No, there were some characters. Will Smith on Facebook. After I got out of this whole thing and I went on Facebook, I met up with... There was one day he had a profile picture, uploaded another one the next day. And it was him on the ground. His face was not shown in it, but he was just in a trash can throwing up. And I'm like, Will motherfucking Smith here. Abel Freebands had one where he was holding an iguana. I think it was a large iguana. He was holding it with 2 hands. He goes, me and my pet cat. This man, dude, I don't know. I met a lot of cool people in there. Another Alec. My real name is Alec. I met another Alec, which is cool. We shared our Alec stories. He was one of the kids that did Xanax and shot up that house, actually, which was unfortunate, unfortunate for him. And yeah, I don't know, you meet a lot of interesting people in there. And I also did unfortunately meet some kids that were in a bad situation. I met a kid in there who'd been in there a lot. They were used to him. He was friendly with the workers, the officers, or whatever you want to call them. And and they knew him, and they were all happy, but he was just a crazy dude, like a bigger man, and he had been through a lot of shit. He had scars on his face when he was a kid. Some dogs attacked him or something, and he was supposed to come into a lot of money from it, but he was just lived in a fucked up family, and unfortunately it was just a degenerate, and he was, and there was this time where at some point where his mom came into the whole. It came in as a visitor. You have visitors on Wednesday and Saturday and Sunday. I think you get two a week. So like Wednesday, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday, one of the two. But they came in and asked him to sign a whole check for her, and the whole situation was fucked up. And he stood up and just ran into a wall, just straight up ran as fast as he could, head first into a wall. Fell down, hit the back of his head on the ground, and his eyes rolled back. And I don't know. I feel bad for that kid, because while I was there, he turned 18. It was his birthday. Wished him happy birthday, of course, but it was his birthday, and he went to real prison. And that was within the first week or two of me getting there. And so I heard this whole story about him in real prison where, you know, somebody looked at him funny and was like, "What's going on?" He got in a fight and got tased, and I don't know. There's a lot of fucked up people in this world, and I hope that they're able to get out of that. I really do. I want them to be able to realize that there's more than life, more to this life than negativity in prison. Like, people grow up in prison, and they don't feel comfortable when they're outside of it. They grow up in that dude, if he does something, if he doesn't do anything to the point where he's able to get released, then he gets out and he feels weird. He doesn't feel like he fits into society. He doesn't want to take that energy or that time to like make friends or fit in, and he's like, I got to get back there, and he just commits another crime, you know? He just does something else to get him back in there. And that's unfortunate, you know? That's unfortunate. And I don't know. It was cool getting that perspective on life. It was cool meeting those people and understanding where they come from. And luckily, I didn't become one of those people. Luckily, I wasn't one of those people as a kid who got into drugs and crime and stealing and breaking into shit and beating the shit out of people, and there are people who are just born into that, and you can't think of them as any different, because in reality they're just people that were born into that, you know? That's what they knew. That's what they were raised around, like beating the shit, parents beating their kids, parents beating each other, whatever it is, like that's just what they knew. That's just your whole background. And I feel really bad for those people. And luckily, I was able to get out of this. There was actually this time, I did want to tell this in general. There was this time when I told my friend, I was like, yeah, there was this guy, we were in class, and this guy tweeted. He tweeted from JDC, Juvenile Detention Center. He tweeted, he's like, tweeting live from JDC. And that was the Alex kid. That was the Alec kid, actually. Which was hilarious. I was like, dude, you tweeted in Juvie? That's awesome. And then he got all of our computers banned. And we were like, fuck this kid. God damn it. We can't do anything anymore. He got in trouble. Well, you know, to be expected. And my friend Adam Ott, actually, that had an episode on here. He goes, so did you beat the shit out of him, or, you know, what happened? Like, in the showers, what happened? I was like, nah, we just raped him. And you can't say that anymore, I guess. I don't know. I think prison rape is more acceptable to joke about than regular rape. But, like, we didn't rape him. But, like, fuck that kid in general, just for tweeting and getting us all in trouble. And anyways, I had to meet the people. I had to make friends. I had to establish myself in that community of degenerates and move on from there. You know, I had to move on. And after that whole experience, I learned a lot. I gained, like I said, you get a different perspective from those people, and you get out and you get a different appreciation for day-to-day life. Whereas, like, every day, I couldn't even, they had a pull-up bar. They made us walk around in a gym or whatever every morning. But, like, you can't work out. You can't listen to music. You can't talk to your friends. You can't even talk to your family. If you have a shitty family connection, you still want to be able to at least talk to them to give them shit, and you can't even talk to them. And after that, you just kind of like, I don't know. Luckily, my whole situation, I had a lot of supporters. I was at least my family was well respected in the community, and I had a lot of friends. So on the day of court, I had a lot of people show up and support me, and I got 100. I got my due. I did a shitty thing, and I got 3 weeks in juvie, and I got 100 hours community service, and I got 3 months of probation. Okay, I think that's enough. I think that was enough for a 17-year-old who fucked up, made a joke, and wanted to move on from there. I think what I got was fair. Well, maybe a little less than fair, because the joke, it wasn't that, but no, it's fair. We'll go back to that. It was fair. We'll just revert to that it was fair, and I made friends even with when I had to do community service. I had to do community service with the Lebanon high school custodians, and I made friends with all those custodians. Like, they were all so cool. Like, I made the best of every situation that I had. They were all cool. When I was a senior, I graduated. All the custodians chipped in, gave me like a $50 bill. They were like, happy graduation or whatever. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I don't know. But I really did realize that in comedy, there are lines. And if you don't make a well-constructed joke, I guess, or there's lines that you just can't cross, unless you do it tastefully, unless you have a big name, I guess, where those things have consequences. Though, people will respond to that, and you have to take in that there's a lot of different perspectives in the world. And if you don't look at it from your own perspective, say a junior in high school, or a college kid, or whatever, if you don't look at a joke you make from that perspective, there are perspectives that are just not appropriate for that joke. I don't know. There's things where somebody's going to look at your joke you made as a college kid and be like, that is dumb. You shouldn't have said that. I am offended personally because I have this person that's in that situation or whatever. And that's fair. You know what I mean? I acknowledge every single person that's in that situation, or in whatever situation, where they have a friend that has cancer, or they have a friend that's in jail, or they have a friend that's been raped, or they have a friend, or they've experienced all these things in themselves, and you can't expect them to laugh at a joke about that topic, and that's fair. But the whole thing is, if it's a joke and it was never meant to harm anybody, the person that takes offense to it also has to think about it from the comedian's perspective, I guess. If anybody says something in a joking manner, then they're just saying that for the laugh. They're saying that for the art of it. They're saying that for the giggle. They're saying that for whatever. You know what I mean? They're saying that not to offend anybody. They don't want to harm anybody. Personally, there are jokes that you can say, especially nowadays, like Ricky Gervais hosting the Golden Globes, like saying all the shit that he did, like on the Golden Globes. Dave Chappelle making every single joke that he did, dodging landmines or whatever, like saying all this offensive shit, but in a good way. It's like they have a name for themselves. And hopefully, this is what I'm hoping for, that Hollywood will kind of get past this phase of canceling celebrities and just ridiculing everybody for making any sort of joke, and get to this point where it's like, this person is not making a joke with any intention of harm. This person is making a joke to, first of all, normalize that thing, and second of all, make light of it, I guess. Kind of like, that's a serious thing, and it's like, that thing should be acknowledged, and it should be taken care of, and there should be rules and laws and whatever to eradicate that from ever happening. But while we're in it, there are people who are not taking this thing seriously in the right way, and kind of making it a an over dramatic thing that it's laughable. It really is. Like, somebody that hasn't been affected by this, they are defending something that they've never experienced, and kind of just being, I don't know, too much. They're being too much about this whole thing. And there has to be jokes to make fun of the people who take this too far and too much. I don't know. Listen. There's a line. There's a line where things become too much and too far, and comedy is supposed to state that. Comedy is supposed to come out, make fun of people who are taking things too far and taking things to a point where they're not relatable anymore, and to the point that even people that have been affected by them are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's just, I don't know. That's just my perspective on it. This has been my whole Juvy story, and I'm fucked up right now, so whatever I've said, I don't know. That's just me. I need to stop this because I've gone on for far too long. Amen. Anyways, thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Well, that was that. Thanks for sticking with me, guys, especially there towards the end. That was a lot of kind of drunk rambling, but I got most of what I wanted to say out there. I also want to say I was sponsored by seltzers. However, I wasn't at all. And you should be careful of seltzers, because everybody thought that margarine was good for you because it wasn't butter, and then look what we find out, that margarine is all chemicals and it's really bad. Anyways, I know that wasn't the whole point of the thing, but I think I went on long enough about that whole thing. And I finally got the Juvy story out there and done with, so you can refer to this episode if you ever need to, which is mostly for me, because I'll be the only one referring to it ever. Anyways, I really do appreciate any listeners, and I don't know, follow me on Instagram for updates and stuff, at Steve McJones. I don't know, just look up Steve McJones, I think it'll pop up, it's up there. And like, subscribe, comment, review this on iTunes, whatever, it all helps and makes me feel good. Anyways, thank you, I love you, okay, bye. I want a boyfriend. Just come up behind me and, let me wear his jacket. My boyfriend. I'm mad at my boyfriend.